Welcome to a mountain of inspiration. My name is Dimitri. I am the gentleman who's simply on fire about seeing you jet propelled to your next level or dimension as far as your journey to personal branding is concerned, or as far as your journey to wealth creation is concerned. I am based in Canada, so if you're ever looking for me, now you know how and where to find me. All right. Let's just get started. Let me just make sure that first of all that the sound is a-okay as far as everyone is concerned in the world, and because it's quite interesting because sometimes we do live and realize that yes, the sound is not really on. It has happened to me on a few occasions, and yesterday I was watching another friend of mine live, and that's exactly what was happening during the live. He was speaking, he was moving his mouth, but unfortunately we could not hear him because somehow the technology was just so finicky that it was not allowing for us to hear what he was saying until we basically had to scream, oh yeah, we can hear you. That eventually it came to a place where it fixed everything and we could be heard moving forward. All right, so let me just make sure everything is okay sound wise, and okay, perfect, we are fine. Oh my goodness, thank you so very much. Let me just say hello quickly to family here all the way from Atlanta, Georgia. I have my lovely family recently became a beautiful young grandmother, Jessica. Thank you so very much for being here. I so appreciate you. Let me just bring up, what is thing not working properly here? Yes. I have also Gamer Bro in the house. Thank you very much. So both people from America. So thank you very much. I also have a Wellness with Frugal Mama. So it looks like today is just America in the house. So thank you very much for being here. So again, J-Dub Vlogs, thank you very much for being here. Jessica, my good brother, Gamer Bro, thank you very much. Wellness with Frugal Mama, thank you very much. Yes, good afternoon, everyone. Please make sure you actually say hello to one another so we can continue to mingle and get to know each other and network and find a way to actually get to discover new people that we have not met yet. And yes, that's how we grow as far as our YouTube journey is concerned. Everyone is actually having a great day. As far as I'm concerned, today is Sunday. It's supposed to be a relaxed day. I've been up since 5 o'clock in the morning. I was ready to go at 7:30 in the morning, and I simply said to myself, now, today is Sunday. So more than likely, people are just resting. So let me give them some time. All the grandmothers, all the new mothers, all the new fathers, all the new grandfathers to relax a little bit before I can go on live. So that when I go live, at least I will have a chance to get everyone's attention as opposed to going at 7:30 when grandma, grandpa, my mother, fathers are just trying to catch the last few seconds or minutes of sleep or rest before they can get up again and attending to everyone. Yes. And so for today's session, so first of all, yesterday was quite an interesting day. Yesterday there was, some of you know, others don't know, I'm very much into boxing and very much into mixed martial arts. And yesterday there was a big fight that I was actually looking forward to actually watching. And the fight was quite an upset as far as people of Africa, people of Nigeria are concerned. Because the champion, the former champion by the name of Kamaru Usman, went on to challenge the reigning champion Leon Edwards out of the United Kingdom, and was unfortunately defeated and was stopped, and was it was a very terrific win for Leon Edwards. Very well done, because the second time he was able to now to stop and dominate the former champion. Very, very well done, so congratulations. But I'm sure it must be a very sad day for the former champion, because the last time he was actually defeated, his daughter went home and she was completely devastated. So I can only imagine how the family is feeling right now this morning, somewhere in America, trying to figure out exactly what life is going to be moving forward for them. So for this and so much more, I can simply say yes, yes, I can empathize. I can only imagine how this must be, how this must feel, how devastating this must be for the family. So I can only, yes, know that yes, I'm sending prayers and good vibe towards your home. So as far as the former champion is concerned, as far as the United Kingdom is concerned, congratulations again. Very well done to defend your belt for a second time in a row against someone as terrific as this Nigerian nightmare known as Kamaru. So you've done very well. So know that the rest of the world is definitely celebrating with you as well. All right. Nana Foodies is also in the house. Thank you very much for being here. So I'm so grateful for all of you. Thanks for coming. Don't forget to also to hit the like button, to smash it, so YouTube knows right away that yes, what we are actually delivering is of great value as far as your ears and your minds are concerned. So please make sure you smash the like button, so right away they know that yes, what we're doing it's absolutely invaluable. And if you can also share me up, please do. If you can, that's okay. I'm not gonna force anyone, and that's very important, so we can continue to grow together. So for today's subject, what I would like to discuss, the topic what I would like to discuss today is diversity. Diversity in branding yourself, in your personal branding, and how diversity, focus and intentionality on diversity can actually yield to some tremendous breakthrough as far as your financial freedom is concerned. Again, diversity. Before I can define diversity, let me just backpedal a little bit and start talking about what I was talking about yesterday, which is homophilia. Again, H-O-M-O and then P-H-I-L-Y, which is basically can be broken down in two separate parts. So the first part, which is basically the roots. Homo, which simply means same. That this is ancient Greek, so same. And feeling, which simply means love. So basically, we have love same. So it's the love of the sameness. So we are, as human beings, so conditioned to want to surround ourselves with what is familiar. Someone may say, no, this is discrimination. No, it's not discrimination. You have to understand how the brain works. The brain is a powerful tool, but at times the brain can become also very lazy, in the sense that the brain only wants to, how can I put it? To operate on automatic mode, on default mode. The brain wants to know exactly what to do, and once you figure exactly what to do, it wants to actually put everything on automation. The brain wants to know, yes, every morning when, let's say, give me an example of Jessica. When Jessica wakes up, someone in Atlanta, Georgia, this is the routine that she has. And she wakes up, she does whatever she does, and then she has to make a few phone calls and get ready and do whatever she has to do. So the brain is simply paying attention. The brain is simply saying, today, Monday, this is what you did. Tuesday, this is what you did. Wednesday, it's so on and so forth until Friday. So the brain is now classifying your behavior in one particular, and the brain simply says, this is now our routine. So therefore, as far as she's concerned, as she wakes up in the morning, this is what we're going to give her. Familiarity and automation. So the brain is simply going to make sure that yes, as she wakes up, we're going to make sure that everything as far as the body is concerned is going to be responding a particular, because these are the tasks that she wants for us to perform as far as the body is concerned. That's how the brain works. This is simply automation. And automation is basically why you can see basically people doing the same thing over and over and over again without realizing this is actually detrimental to what they are trying to achieve, because the brain is simply saying, no, you don't know this person the way I know this person. This person doesn't like to be in places of newness, wants just to be in a place where everything is familiar. So let me give the person exactly a dose of what the person likes. So the person may come on December 31st and January 1st simply say to himself, no, this year things will be very different. I'm telling you, I'm going to be different this year. I'm telling you, I'm going to write it down. I'm going to go on the internet and just pray and scream as much as possible that this year will be different. But the brain is saying, but wait a minute, my friend, wellness with frugal mama, wait a minute, I know you the way that people don't know you, and I know you like this kind of routine. So let me make sure I do everything to keep you within this confinement, because I know this is how you're going to be safe. I'm not going to expose you to anything above and beyond the borders of this space that you have created for me in the mind. So therefore, I'm going to make sure the neurons only fire up in a way that we're going to give you a more of the same as far as life is concerned. And this is how the brain works as far as automation is concerned. Oh my goodness. Thank you very much. This is how the brain works. The brain simply wants looking for familiarity. Thank you very much again. J-Dub Vlogs, again, Jessica out of Atlanta. Please make sure to connect with her. And Nana Food is out of DC. Thank you very much for being here as well. To everyone also, please make sure to say hello to my good friend Nana Food is out of DC, Washington. So again, The brain only looking for family. The brain is only looking for automation. So the brain is not looking for bias. The brain is not simply saying, no, my goodness, I don't like people who are actually this color or this size. No, the brain is not. The brain is simply looking for familiarity. And this is how the brain works. So once you understand how the brain works, familiarity and automation, you're going to then come to understand why when it comes to certain things. For example, I was giving you an example yesterday of how things actually happen in North America. You're going to see that, yes, a group of developers get together and simply say, we're going to go to Atlanta, Georgia, or we're going to go to this, and we're going to buy this particular plot of land. We're going to buy this land, and we're going to actually have this big vision to create this new subdivision and create some very fancy homes that no one has ever seen before. And this is our goal. We're going to create something so spectacular that the government is just begging to work with us and to find ways to just give us some grant towards what we are doing. That's what the developers are actually thinking. But as they're thinking, the developers are not thinking in terms of, oh my goodness, who is going to come buy this house? Who is going to come populate this neighborhood? That's not how they're thinking. Because their goal is to simply build. And as soon as they build, their goal is to simply have transaction. Transaction in a way that, yes, we're going to be selling the home to people with access to cash and with access to good credit. That's all they think about. Cash or credit. If your credit is good, yes, please come buy. If you have cash, cash is king. Come buy from us. We're not going to discriminate against the color or the smell of your dollars. Because as soon as your dollars show up, if it is good, if it is legal, most of the time, because we know at sometimes people can get greedy when it comes to business. As soon as we can see that, yes, the money you bring into the table is actually legit. We're going to take it from you. As soon as you can just prove that you either have a good credit, as soon as you can prove that, yes, you have the cash, we're going to sell you the home. So that's how developers actually build the home and start selling the home. That's how they actually operate. But as they're operating this way, they're not trying to figure out who's going to come buy the house. But what happens very quickly, as I was explaining yesterday, within a short number of years, you're going to start seeing that, yes, oh my goodness, this was a new development. But how come all of a sudden, when you're driving this development, you see that most people look pretty much the same. Or most people in this neighborhood, only they have a common interest. They love to drive their kids to soccer practices. They love to drive their kids to basketball practices, or they love to drive their kids early in the morning to swimming classes or to track and field or to travel together, because somehow the people living within this neighborhood will start congregating and start finding common ground. And as the building is common ground, it's oh yes, you know, my neighbor, we are into the same thing. Next thing you know, okay, my goodness, the house next door is actually for sale. Who amongst our friends is looking for a house? Because they're trying to bring as many people as possible around them and close to them. And before then, you now have a new community of people that basically just happen to be formed in almost by chance. But when you look at how the brain works, it's not by chance, because the brain simply goes by feeling. The brain simply says, yes, I'm going to find a way to create a community around you of people that are like-minded. And as we build this community of people that are like-minded around us, that's how we're going to be safe. And that's how we're going to be operating with the least amount of effort as possible, because we want to make sure that, yes, everything around you is predictable. Because if everyone around me drive pretty much the same type of cars, I know exactly how this car behaves. If everyone around me dresses pretty much the same way, I know pretty much what to expect when I go on the street. If everyone around me pretty much send their kids to the same school, if everyone around me, basically when it comes to the husband or the spouses, they pretty much have the same type of jobs, we know that we're going to be safe. We're not going to be disrupted, because someone is going to try to introduce something completely new in our neighborhoods. Oh my goodness. Yes, Jessica is saying predictable. Our whole lives have been. Yes, as a matter of fact, this is how the. Sometimes we like to actually go into conspiracies and start saying, yeah, the government is trying to do this. No, sometimes we have simply to go back to this thing called the brain. Because the brain is the source of the biggest conspiracies I've actually seen as far as life is concerned. Because the brain is always looking for a way to create a community around us. It started with our forefathers, our foremothers, long time ago. We always tend to roll with people that have the same vision as us. We always tend to roll with the people that basically see the same thing as us. We always tend to roll with people into the same thing as us because we simply say, yes, in this community of people, there is safety. Because I know that we are actually rolling together and we are actually going after the same thing, then yes, we're not going to be disrupted by anyone trying to introduce a new goal or a new vision that has nothing to do with where we are going. And if anyone tries to come into the group that has basically not the same aspiration, slowly but surely we're going to simply find a way to ostracize the person, simply say, no, you don't belong here because your goals have nothing to do with our goals. Your vision has absolutely nothing to do with our vision. This is not what we do around there. And one day we love to actually make sure that our children go to basketball practices, they get a scholarship, and eventually they can make it to the NBA. That's our aspiration. So if you come around there and your goal is to take your kid to swimming classes in the morning, yeah, that's not how we roll around there. So we're going to listen to you very politely, but we're going to let you know unconsciously or subconsciously that yes, you don't belong because you're not one of our kind. And this is our community actually formed around North America. I'm just speaking to North America because right now most of the people watching are from North America. This is how things are actually done in North America. If you come to a place like Toronto, where I live, you're going to see that yes, a community is actually being built. And as it's actually being built, it's built by people that just want to look for money. But as they're looking for money, slowly but surely, over the years, you come back 5 or 6 years later, you realize that in this community, it's mostly people of one particular background. Because they said to themselves, we have access to cash, so we're going to go and buy as many homes as possible around this neighborhood because we want to make sure that our children have a sense of communities. Our wife have a sense of community. Our husband have a sense of community. And more specifically, when we start bringing our grandmothers, our grandfathers from overseas, when they come, they also have a sense of community because the brain wants simply one thing, homophilia, a sense of love of the same. That's what I discussed yesterday. A sense of sameness. We want a love of the same. That's homophilia. And that's homophilia. And that's a word I went to great length to define yesterday so that everyone could understand how branding when it comes to homophilia is also very important, because when you understand that the people around you are not discriminating against you, but they're simply looking for a sense of sameness, you can then go on to become intentional, to find ways to actually become part of the group by simply trying to understand, yes, my goodness, in this group, that's what they want to do. Let me just find a way to befriend some of the people within the group, because once you do that, you're going to get simply what they call in the world of marketing and psychology, social proof. People are going to say, oh, at a group of about 10 people, if 2 people can actually validate you or vet on you, simply say, my goodness, Wellness with Frugal Mom is a very good person. Wellness with Frugal Mom is our blessing. And once you see that they give you the blessing, the rest of the group simply say, aha, if Johnny and Susie basically can welcome Wellness with Frugal Mama and the family, then we can simply assume or infer that her family is also saying we're going to now welcome them into our community. And that's how we think, social proofing. So we're going to make sure that this is how we're going to do when it comes to our macro level. On a macro level, when it comes to business, what you're going to do like Onassis back in 1923 in Argentina. Onassis came with an idea to actually start this tobacco business in Argentina. But they said to him, no, you are not one of us. You may look like us, but you don't sound like us. You may look like us when it comes to the color of your skin, but you don't sound like us, because we can tell that you are of European descent. You may look like us when it comes to the texture of your hair. You may look like us when it comes to the color of your eyes. You may look like when it comes to the color of your skin complexion. But when you open your mouth to speak, we can tell that you were born and raised in a different continent. Therefore, you are not one of us per se. So we're going to listen to you very politely, but we're not going to engage with you because you don't look and act like us. You don't act like us. You are not one of us. So homophilia is basically broken. So Onassis said to himself, I want to launch this business. I want to launch this business anyhow. So I have to find a way to get into the heart and more specifically into the minds of these people of Argentina. Because what people perceive as discrimination, for me, I'm a business person. I don't see discrimination. I simply see an opportunity. He said to himself, what can I do? So he goes on now to do what? To devise a plan. He called his dad in Greece. He said, Daddy, I found an opportunity. Please send me the best tobacco as far as this thing is concerned. I'm going to try to find a way to resell them in Argentina. The tobacco comes, it goes to the local distributor. They say, no, you are not one of us. We're not going to deal with you. Simply say, I'm not going to be deterred by this. I'm going to find a way to go around, under, or over the obstacle. What does he do? He simply say, okay, so I'm going to get now anyhow into this tobacco business. It's some manufacturing his own cigarette. But before long, he realizes that yes, there is still a major obstacle, because homophilia, love of sameness, love of the same is there. So people are operating based on cluster, are operating based on congregation. People only want to live within their own network, social and economic networks. They only want to stay in the tight-knit communities. Again, social, cultural, and economic networks. So I'm an outsider. And as an outsider, this is basically, oh my goodness, please bear with me. This is basically the community of people in Argentina. This is now Onassis. Onassis says, how can I get inside? Because these people say to me, you look like us, but you don't sound like us. So therefore, you're an outsider. You may have a good product, but we're not going to buy because you are still an outsider. So what can I do to create a sense of homophilia within this group? So what am I going to do on a macro level? I'm going to try to befriend some of them. But as I'm doing that, it's not really making an impact. So what I need to do, because I'm trying to introduce this business on a macro level, on a grand level, I'm going to find a way to go to the leaders. I'm going to find a way to go to the influencers. The people within this community are seen as influencers. I'm going to go to this opera singer within the Argentina community. She's well known and very respected because she also loves to smoke. I'm going to give her a chance to now get to know me on a personal level. I'm going to befriend her. I'm going to turn her, I'm going to seduce her. And how she's going to be seduced by me? Because I'm so irresistible. I'm going to find a way for me to spend money when it comes to our outing. I will try to get her to go out as much as possible. But as we go out, I simply tell this beautiful lady, as we go out and I'm actually just posing next to you, always make sure when people come to take paparazzi, come around to take pictures, always make sure you have this brand of cigarette on the table, number one. Number two, and from time to time, just happen to take one and start smoking. So when they snap a picture, these photographers will simply run back to the outlet and simply say, yes, we saw the opera singer from our community and she's smoking this particular brand of cigarette. So where is it coming from? So right then and there, people start saying, aha! If the leader, social proofing, if the leader can actually embrace this idea from outside, that means that the idea is safe. So what are we going to do? All the people, all the fans at the bottom, they start simply saying, so now we're going to try to find a way to now match a behavior, because again, you have to understand how the brain works. It's called mirror neurons. I don't even know why I'm taking so much time to explain this, because I'm trying to make sure we're on the same level. Yes, very quickly. In 1992, in the University of, I believe, Parma in Italy, Giacomo Risolati, a very brilliant scientist in Italy, was actually doing some experiment on monkeys. And I love animals as well. I have respect for animals, and what I'm describing right now has nothing to do with my position as far as animal is concerned. So this bunch of scientists simply say, we're going to do some experiment on this animal. What we're going to do is we're going to cut open a part of the brain to actually insert some devices, so we can actually read how the brain actually responds to certain things. Let me slow down. Let me just say hello to my family. What you saying? So we don't have that here, welcoming people into our community. I only know of one neighbor in my building, but I couldn't ask more for a roll of toilet paper if I needed it. You are funny, because you know what? In Canada it's really different, because in Canada, when you are community, you're really community. As a matter of fact, people who live around me, they don't look like me when it comes to the color of the skin. But we are a tight community, because from time to time, we depend on others for basic things such as, yes, something is missing. Oh yeah, they'll come knocking, but they'll say, yeah, Dimitri, we have this missing. Could you please get some food? Oh yeah, of course. We exchange. And if I have to go somewhere last minute, I'll simply call my neighbor, simply, yeah, what are you doing right now? Can I come drop my child? They will simply say, yeah, no problem. And when my neighbor is selling a property, they'll say, Dimitri, we're going to be leaving this property over the next few days, so could you please take the keys to our property, just make sure to keep an eye on the. That's how we roll. But these people, they don't look like me, but we are a community, because that's how things in in Canada are actually designed when it comes to sense of community. And You may say like that, you may think that yes, we're not like that, but guess what? When you go to places like New York City, when you go to places like New York City and you start looking around New York City, Manhattan, and you start going to the Hamptons, you're gonna realize very quickly that neighborhoods are actually based on affinity. Most of the neighborhoods are basically a congregation or a class of people that think the same way. They may not talk to each other, but when it comes to the tastes are pretty much the same. And if anyone comes and starts doing things that are completely different, slowly but surely they're going to realize that yes, this behavior in this community is unacceptable. How are we going to know that? They're going to have two things. Number one, we're going to have, I hate to use it because it's just a common word in North America. You're going to have a bunch of Karens, men or women, not simply going on simply no, Mr. So-and-so or Miss So-and-so, in this neighborhood we don't do things like that. You have to find a way to simply curb your enthusiasm. Otherwise, I'll be calling the police, because you are now infringing on our right to simply enjoy life in this community the way we want to. And if the police won't do anything, they will go after the congressmen, they will go after the city council, they will go after the government to put pressure on them to start finding ways to simply get this one particular person or group of people out of the community. And this is why eventually you're going to have what they call in the world of social studies, they call gentrification. Gentrification is basically a process through which a group of people simply says, we want this neighborhood, we want to get into this neighborhood, but in this neighborhood, we see that many people basically don't act like us. So what we're going to do, we're going to slowly but surely start buying block after block. And as we're buying the blocks, we're going to make sure that the prices go up, because we know that people under this particular threshold can afford to live in the neighborhood. So what we actually saying without saying so, we want only people who basically come from a gentle birth, meaning people with access to means to come into this community. And that's how things work. We may not talk to one another, but when it comes to how we think in our minds, we are on the same level. You may not talk to your neighbor, but somehow you're on the same level when it comes to the taste of the things, or the taste of the things that you actually like as far as life is concerned. And that's something very key, because most neighborhoods tend to now we talk even without opening your mouth. You are talking to your neighbor, because the way you live your life must be consistent with the way that your neighbor lives your life. You can be coming in your neighborhood and start basically playing music until 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning and believe your neighbors will be okay with that, because simply say no. Here one day we don't do that. But if you move to certain neighborhoods until 4 o'clock in the morning, people are playing music because they are okay with that. But in some other neighborhoods they say no, we don't do it because we are one tight-knit community. And that's how things work as far as social studies are concerned. Studies after studies, research after research have proven one thing: we tend to live in neighborhoods where we feel accepted, welcome, and where we feel like there's a sense of sameness. Around here, how people do certain things, I'm okay with that. And if you're not okay with that, slowly but surely, you're going to find a way to simply, start looking for other opportunities to relocate, because in this particular neighborhood, you come to realize that, yes, as a matter of fact, it's not just because I don't like what's happening here, but simply I'm seeing that, yes, the cost of living around this neighborhood has gone up so much that I can't afford to live. I have to sell. A friend of mine, a young girl used to work for me a long time ago. She said to me, at first I moved to this neighborhood when things were okay. But within 10-15 years, I realized that most of my neighbors were driving all these fancy cars, and they have nannies, and they were driving expensive cars, living very luxuriously, to the point where I said to myself, oh, I don't belong here. So no one said to her, you don't belong here. She said to herself, I don't belong here, because she says, yeah, my standards of living are there at this level. These people are over there. So every day as I'm walking around the community, I'm telling myself that I don't belong. So before anyone said anything, she decided to simply pack her belongings and move to another neighborhood. And I said to her, but you're working for us, we pay good money. I say, yes, the money you're paying me is not enough for me to live in this particular neighborhood, because these people over there, it's a bunch of CEOs, it's a bunch of entrepreneurs, and they have too much money, and I feel like completely as an outsider. I have to go where I would simply feel a sense of actually being accepted and welcome to the community, even when I don't talk to people around me. Yes, as a matter of fact, yes. Yes, a gentrification in Atlanta. Oh my goodness. Yes, gentrification in Atlanta and New York City. These are two cities or two communities in North America, in America more specifically, that have actually been going through a lot when it comes to gentrification. So people with access to cash will simply say, I like this particular neighborhood, I like this particular city. But in this particular city, I'm seeing that yes, People have access to, as a matter of fact, let me just give the example of the city I know very well. I know very well Toronto. In Toronto, people access to cash will simply come and says, yes, I've noticed that downtown Toronto, which is basically the largest city in Canada and the second most expensive city in Canada after Vancouver. So people access to cash. Developer come to Toronto and say yes. But I noticed that around downtown Toronto, we have pockets of places that I would describe as a ghetto. People are actually living on prime land and they're not paying much as far as living on prime land is concerned. So what can we do without sounding too sacrilegious to get them out of this neighborhood so we can actually buy these properties, buy this land, and actually turn them into something more appropriate for the location? And what they'll start doing, and they'll start basically, first of all, networking amongst the politicians, try to find a way to start relocating some of the people around them. If it's not possible, try to find a way to start buying block after block, unit after unit, until basically they have enough blocks basically in their possession. And what they do is they will simply ask for permit to, demolition permit to basically to destroy everything and build something new. But as they're building something new, their mind is, we're going to build something new and price these properties in a way that people without access to a certain amount of cash will not be able to live here. That's the mindset. Gentrification. Because they said to themselves, gentle birth. Again, the concept came from England and France, more specifically England, because England back in the day they kept saying that yes, gentle birth is basically because gentrification has two words: gentle and kind. Gentle, yes, but gentle more specific from the French word gentil, which simply means kind. Because back in the days, noble people were simply saying yes, if you live a particular lifestyle, you have access to a certain amount of cash, the people around you are going to be living life in a very soft way. There's no hardship around you. Life is kind. Life is gentle. Life is very soft. You are given birth and you almost land on soft cushions. So someone comes to, oh my goodness, baby so and so is born. Oh my goodness, let me just cradle this baby, give him the attention and the affection the baby deserves. This is gentle birth as opposed to a baby being born on concrete. And as the baby is born on concrete, there's no one to welcome the baby into the world. That's basically hardship. Someone said, Dimitri, this is too much. I don't believe. I'm going to tell you a perfect example. There's one particular guy in America by the name of Les Brown. Les Brown, I mean, sir, with all due respect, as a matter of fact, this is a public story, and I'm not making this, it's a public story. Les Brown and his twin brother, when they were born, I believe in Miami, but maybe the year will come back to me. So I believe sometime early 1930s, or it will come back to me. When they were born, the mother had no access to cash or to resources to actually go to a fancy hospital and have access to the best medical care to actually help her give birth to the children. So what did she do? She went to an abandoned building where there was basically no one, dust and everything you can possibly imagine, mold, dust, cold, everything. It was there. She went there to give birth to the twins. And as soon as the baby was born, she said to herself, no, I can't afford to keep the children. I'm going to actually give them for adoption. I should give them for adoption. That's how they want to live with a lady by the name of Brown. Miss Brown actually adopted the children. She then gave these children the name, named them after herself. And this is now came to be known as Les Brown. Lester Brown after this family, because her mom gave birth to them in a very harsh condition. And she did not have the mental, the emotional ability to care for them, so she had to give them for adoption. So this is basically a very hard introduction to this thing called life, as opposed to gentle, when someone's coming to welcome, say, oh my goodness, baby Dimitri, oh baby Jessica is born, let me just call the, oh my goodness, oh gentle birth, oh my goodness, let me just call the nannies, yeah, please come look after that gentle. So the people access to cash simply call themselves, this is now, we are people of gentle birth, gentle background, and therefore when we go in a certain neighborhood and we see things that are completely harsh, what we do is we try to initiate the process of actually gentrifying or gentrification, so we can actually make sure that people and things around them actually become softer, become nice, And as of course, they become more expensive, and they become more expensive, they become basically unaffordable. But those at the bottom who simply find no other option but to simply leave. As they leave, this neighborhood becomes basically a very beautiful neighborhood, but very expensive neighborhood. I was struck a few months ago, a long time ago, a few years ago. I was walking around in New York City. I found myself, this is a true story. I found myself basically walking around New York City, but at one point, I realized that as I was just going towards the Fifth Avenue, that even the smell in the neighborhood was changing. It was the summer. Because of course, in New York City, when it's actually summer, things are all over the place, garbage all over the place. So in particular neighborhoods, you could go and smell garbage and so forth. The fragrance of garbage was all over the place. But as I started walking towards the Fifth Avenue, I said, but oh my goodness, I'm smelling perfume. What's going on here? So how come I'm coming from smelling garbage to now smelling perfume and the smell of AC, air conditioning? I said, but this is amazing. This is strange. I said, this is exactly what they did. It's called gentrification. It's an invisible border around places. Simply says, yes, here you have to belong. You have to behave a certain way. If you don't, basically you're gonna be simply ostracized. We're not gonna pay attention to you. You're gonna come into our stores. We're gonna simply not even say hello to you because we know just based on how you look that you're not gonna be able to afford anything. And even if you look the part, we know that when you look at the price, you simply says, oh my goodness, this is too much. I'm just gonna walk out because how is it possible? Someone before they can give me the price of an item will ask me, so this is in Canada. They'll ask you, so Mr. Dimitri, could you please have your zip code? Or that's in America, but in Canada we say, can you please have your postal code because we want to know where you're coming from. And it's not discrimination, but it just want to get you access to information. And you say to yourself, but if I go to Costco, if I go to Walmart, the price is on the item. So why is it you have to ask my information before you can give me the price? Because you know that when the price comes, you're going to have some very serious access to cash before you can actually afford to pay that item. Otherwise, you will simply say to yourself, yeah, it looks nice, but I'm going to go because it's too much for me. That's how it works. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Yes, great question from Jessica. Let's ask a question to the chat. Where does everyone live? Where do you reside? And how many neighbors you know? No neighbors you wave to, but I'm talking about neighbors that you really know. Nada Food is when she lives in DC. She says, in my neighborhood, everyone keeps to themselves, which is basically it makes North America. But we wave to them. We wave to them when I see anyone. So when I say knowing your neighbors, I'm not talking about getting to become friends with them, break bread with them. I'm simply saying that yes, actually you wave to them. But guess what? You're not going to wave to someone who basically doesn't, make you feel safe. You're not going to wave to someone who makes you feel, edgy. You're not going to wave to someone who makes you chill and feel like you're on edge. So-and-so is someone very, scary looking. You're only going to be waving to someone who makes you feel like, at least subconsciously we are on the same level. Subconsciously we're on the same level. I'm different because wherever I go for some reason, people want to come to me, they want to say hi to me, and next thing you know, I start knowing their names. And I'm different, I know. And I keep telling my please let me just go into politics. I will do well in politics. She says, no, there is no way you're going to go into politics. I said, but funny story. I go to this meeting a few weeks ago, a meeting, and I'm saying myself, I'm going to go to meet only for 40 minutes because after that I have to run quickly. I have to go to the store. So as I'm excusing myself from the meeting, I'm saying to the chair of the meeting, hey, I have to go. I'm exiting the door. Someone comes after me. She says, oh yes, I want to talk to you. And I'm saying, but I was running, but the person wants to talk to me. And I said to my wife, I couldn't go to the store because so-and-so saw me at the meeting and wanted to talk to me. I don't know why people love to talk to me so much. I am not a politician. I am not the mayor of the city. I'm not a city council. I'm not a congressman. I'm not a member of parliament. So why do they want to come talk to me about the personal business? I have no clue. I'm not going to complain because it means that somehow they must feel safe with me. So that's fine. So I'm different. But what I'm saying is the following. You cannot be waving to someone that you're not feeling comfortable with. You cannot be waving to someone that looks scary to you. You cannot. If the person that you're waving to, you know, you can sense that this person is is a gangster, is a hardcore gangster, is a criminal, hardcore criminal, you're not gonna be waving to, because you said to yourself, my goodness, as I'm waving to this person, who else is actually watching this person? They're gonna believe that maybe we are in a relationship, and next thing you know, if anything happens, when they're coming after me, because they say, guilty by association. So I will try my very best to keep to myself and stay away, because I have no clue what this person is into. But it is obvious with my naked eyes that so and so is bad person, is simply a criminal, hardcore criminal. That's how we think in our mind. Even if you don't, your brain is actually connected in a way that your brain is simply looking for homophilia, simply looking for a sense of sameness, it's simply looking for what we call default, looking for simple automation. Your brain looking for something that's actually easy for it to register with and to simply actually do the same thing that you want to do. The brain will not you put you in a place where you run all of a sudden you simply say, I'm surrounding people that actually make me feel very edgy. Because there's this part of the brain that's called the ancient brain. It's a part of the brain that basically has been existed for years, even the people before us. Our forefathers, many years ago, and access to the same type of brain before the brain started evolving. And this part of the brain is simply what you call the ancient brain. And that part of the brain I'm talking about is now called the amygdala. The amygdala is simply the part of the brain simply give us two responses. When you go out, and you actually look at something that's completely new, your brain is going to very quickly scan and simply say, this is either a friend or a very dangerous enemy. Either you're going to fight or you're going to run away. So flight or fight response is simply something that's embedded in our brain. So whether we like it or not, the brain is functioning to keep us safe. So the brain will not let you even wave to someone who does not make you feel good or very, very safe as far as who you are concerned, or your children or the people that you love. Because recently, for example, in Toronto, this older lady, she was walking downtown Toronto, minding her own business, minding her own business, not saying hello to anyone, just minding her own business. All of a sudden, a young man comes and just pushes her, and she falls to the ground, and next thing you know, concussion, they take her to the hospital, and she passed. Why? Because someone decided to be simply criminal-minded when it comes to being around her. And of course, because of that, all of us now in Toronto, we are very, very cautious. We are saying to ourselves, when we go out, because we know that the economy is so bad, we pay attention to our surroundings. We have to make sure that we are safe, and we scan the environment very quickly to make sure that people around us are actually people we can trust. If we don't trust them, we'll simply keep to ourselves, because we say, I sense danger. But if I feel like, yes, I can sense that this person is actually okay, I will at least nod or wave to this new neighbor, because I can sense that this neighbor, they have children like I do. They have a van. I don't have a van, but I mean, they have a van like I do. The children go to school like mine. So this person seems to be like a person that was okay. I can see that, yes, it's a couple, it's a family. So I can say that, yes, they are working. So we are basically not friends, but we are basically on the same level. So we are safe. We are safe. So let me just say, wave. But we're not going to be friends, but let me just wave. And that's the least we can do. Oh, my goodness, my goodness. Yes, Jessica is saying, respect your elders and protect each other. Absolutely. The key thing that we all do as far as the brain is concerned, our job is to make sure that we create a sense of safety for our family, safety for ourselves and safety for our family. We want to make sure that our elders are safe. Our elders are safe. We are safe as parents. I want to make sure that our children, when they go out in the neighborhood, they can be safe. Because if I'm going to let my children go to the library by themselves or go riding a bicycle, I want to make sure that the people around me are people I can actually trust. Because even if I don't know them, but if I see that someone is someone who looks very questionable, I will not going to be very comfortable letting my children just ride the bicycle around, because I don't know what's going to happen to them if they come across this person and they happen to be in a very dangerous place. So I want to make sure that my neighbors are people I can actually scan and make sure I'm surrounded by people who can make my family also safe. Yes, indeed, Jessica, that was very sad. I mean, it was a very sad situation. Not just that, I mean, many other things have been happening all over the place in Toronto. Even just going on public transit, going on buses, going on the subway, because of the economic upheaval we've been going through over the past few months. You know how things go. In America, you have the SVB Bank, the Silicon Valley Bank, that basically collapsed, and when it collapsed, it brought down so many other things as far as part of the economy are concerned. In Canada, no bank has collapsed, but at least what we're sensing is that, yes, the cost of living has gone up so much. It's gone up so much that people most people basically find themselves losing everything, all of a sudden finding themselves homeless, and as they become homeless, they become extremely unpredictable on the buses, on the subway, on the streets of. They become unpredictable. So when you're walking around town, you have to make sure you scan the environment all the time. Here's a funny story I never told you. A few weeks ago, I was just minding my own business, just driving my car. I went to drop one of my children somewhere downtown because she wanted to spend time with her friends. And as I dropped her off, I started driving to actually leave downtown. And as I'm trying to leave downtown, I went when I come at a stop, basically, we have to stop. So as I stop my car, I see a gentleman, an older gentleman, panhandling, so basically asking for money, going from one car to another. But somehow, this gentleman decided to just zero in on my car, to focus on my car. So he comes on my car, he starts looking at me. Of course, all the windows are up and the windows tinted, and the back is completely dark. You can see anything in the car. So the guy started looking at me intently. And I could sense the weight of his stare. He was basically looking at me, not asking for money, but looking for trouble. Because my man, I'm saying, Dimitri, you have too much to lose. You can engage in anything that can actually be detrimental to you. This gentleman may be okay going to jail, but you are not okay going to jail because you don't belong there. So Dimitri, keep the windows up. Don't even engage with me. So what the guy do? He's standing now, circling my car. He goes, I keep asking, but there are many cars here, so why is he just focusing on my car? He starts just circling my car. He goes around, and he comes back to my window, and he look at me. I just sense him, and he simply say, yeah, because of course the windows are up, and of course it's very insulating. I just hear me yell now, God bless you. So you could tell that the man had so much animosity in his voice. That was not blessing. That was simply someone saying, I was trying to engage you in a fight, but you are too smart, but God bless. I said, aha. That's exactly what I'm talking about. People are now losing so much. They're losing their mind, and because they're losing their mind, their ability to become predictable as far as life is concerned has gone through the roof. You don't know who you're dealing with, so you have to make sure that you scan the environment all the time, and to make sure that what you do is not going to lead you in a place where you're going to find yourself having to talk to the police or talking to some judges as far as life is concerned. Just keep to yourself and just make sure you're actually safe. But that was downtown Toronto. In my neighborhood, I pretty much say hello to everyone and I'm safe. I can park my car anywhere, I'm safe. Sometimes because our neighbor, we know each other, and everyone basically has a sense of sameness as far as life is concerned. I may not know everyone by name, but at least I feel safe for myself and my children. Yes, I'm getting a different question. So the topic was 5 reasons to actually why diversity matters, but I'm getting a different question from Jessica. The question is, can you speak on what's going on in Canada to educate us on the digital ID and the 15-minute cities? Yes. You have to give me more information when it comes to the digital ID, because Canada is becoming also a very complex topic on its own. So many things that are happening. Yeah, so you have to give me more information so I can actually give you educated answer. Yes. I'm gonna make a video on when it comes to that, maybe in the next few weeks. Thank you very much. Thank you. I appreciate so much, Jessica. Yes, go back quickly to the topic that we had on the table, which is basically homophilia and diversity. So we understood now what homophilia is. Now let's move to diversity. Diversity, what is diversity? Let me just put first of all my own definition on the word diversity so that we can all be on the same page. This is where basically I have to pray first before I can say what I have to say. Amen. I have to pray because I want to make sure that I'm not going to get myself in trouble with what I'm going to use now as a definition for diversity. Amen. I'm released. I can speak. My definition of diversity is the following. Diversity for me has absolutely nothing to do with the color of the skin. Diversity for me has nothing to do with the texture of your hair. Diversity has absolutely nothing to do with the color of your eyes. Diversity, that's not diversity for me. Diversity has nothing to do with how you speak, how you enunciate certain things, and how your accent sound. I was watching something the other day with my wife on TV, It was basically a show from the United Kingdom. And we were listening to the people say, oh my goodness, they speak English, but they sound so different. It's funny because we speak English, and English is supposed to come from their country. But when they speak, we have a tendency to believe that the accent is very interesting, it's very different. So just to say that diversity, when we go on to actually look at diversity, it's not the color of the skin, it's not so much the texture of your hair, it's not so much the color of your eyes, it's not so much the accent, it's not so much how you live your life, it's not so much how can I put it, it's not so much your taste when it comes to food, when it comes to music, when it comes to books, it's not so much your proclivities or your natural gift as far as physical ability are concerned. No, that's not diversity. So if you're looking to actually introduce the concept of diversity into your community, onto your home, you're not going to be saying, oh my goodness, let me just bring more people that don't look like us, and that's diversity. That's not diversity. That's not diversity. That's not, in my book, that's not diversity. So if I'm looking to actually hire people to come work for me, I'm not going to say, okay, in the name of diversity, let me hire people that don't look like me. That's not diversity. That's not diversity for me. Diversity for me is more internal. It's not even a test, it's the ability to think differently, to be a contrarian thinking. If someone goes into a community and everyone knows that in this particular community, we all dress this particular way. So we all, for example, yes, we all wear neckties. We all wear neckties. We all wear bow ties. So for example, in this community, everybody does this. In the morning they wake up and they put the necktie and it goes outside. So that's basically this community. I come there, I simply say, no, I'm Dimitri. I am mountain of inspiration. I am different. I don't wear ties inside. I don't wear ties outside. I wear ties inside. So this is diversity. So I'm simply saying I am different. You do things this way, I'm going to do things this other particular way. I'm going to be putting things inside. And this is my way of simply saying I am different. This is the diversity in the community. And let me not tell also a true story. A few years ago, when I first moved to this country, one particular summer, I go into a get-together, and one woman comes to me and she said to me, excuse me, young man, I have to talk to you. I said, okay, sure, what's going on? She said to me, it's summer and everyone is basically dressed down, but why is it that you are dressed up? Number one. Number two, why is it that you're wearing this skirt, this thing around your neck? Is it somehow that you are sick? You're trying to conceal something? I said, no, I mean, I'm okay, no. But she said, because it's very strange. It's very strange. This is a community. We all dress a particular way, but you are dressing too differently. And if you think that this person may be basically of a different ethnicity, no, same ethnicity. So when it comes to the color of the skin, same color of the skin, and everything is the same. But she said to me, but you stand out. You are different. Example number one. Example number two. A few years ago, 2008 or 2009, I was actually flying out of JFK. So if you basically you can imagine, 7 years after the 2001 issue. As I'm coming out of JFK, of course I was dressed up. I dressed up in suit and ascot and everything. It was summer. So as I'm going through custom immigration, one of the guys comes and says, hey, young man, please, sir, please stop. Stop, please stop. I say, who are you talking to? Say, yeah, you, please stop. I said, okay, sure. I said, but this is now post September 11th, so you don't want to do anything crazy because next thing you know, I have my Canadian passport. Next thing you know, I can be put somewhere and I don't become a blacklisted. So I stood still. He says, yeah, please, you stop. I say, yeah, I'm standing. What's going on? I say, please, please remove whatever you put around your neck. So I removed it, and I looked at it from different angles. He started looking at it, looking at it, and trying to see if there was anything around it. And he started also even patting my neck to see if there was anything hidden. And I said, but this is just a pin. He says, no, we have to make sure that there's nothing crazy that you're actually concealing with this piece of accessory, fashion accessory, because we have to make sure that you are safe for all the other people on the plane. I was like, oh wow, and I look around and say, of course, guess what? I was the only person wearing an ascot on that particular flight. Number one. Number two, I was the only person wearing a suit on that particular day. Number two. Number three, to make more things even more interesting, the person who said to me, "Sorry, excuse me, stop," happened to be of the same ethnic background as myself. So it was not someone picking me because of the color of my skin, but it was someone that looked like me and sounded like me. But it was simply taken aback because I was standing out, because I was a man of diversity. I was simply standing out because I was simply thinking and acting and feeling differently. So diversity for me is not so much, again, the color of the skin. It's not so much the texture of your hair. It's not so much the color of your eyes. Simply your ability to simply be intentional, to simply say, I am going to do things differently. When you do things differently, you introduce something really key to your community with simply diversity. And diversity, when you do that, that's how you bring a sense of excellence into your community. Someone say, this is very presumptuous, Dimitri. Who do you think you are? So just because you're different, you think you're going to bring excellence to your community? Somebody saying, it's not about me. It's about history. History is simply telling us that when it comes to, oh my God, let me just slow down. When it comes to, thank you very much, Tamara and Zombie, thank you very much. Thank you for being here. Thank you so much. Yes, everyone is unique. Thank you very much, Jessica. When it comes to this thing called history simply teaches me one thing. In 1888, when Carl Benz and his wife decided to put together this first thing and start driving it around and call it eventually car, people thought that they were crazy. They said, this is crazy. Homophily. Everyone is supposed to love the same thing. Why is this couple so crazy about this thing called car? Why can't you simply keep using the same thing, which is basically horse carriages or horses to move around? Why is this guy wanting to introduce this thing called car? At the very most, we can consider using bicycle, but why does he want to introduce this thing called car? But what they didn't understand is that this was diversity. Diversity simply saying, yes, we love the same thing. We love to be comfortable. We love to live life on automation. But guess what? In order for us to do things differently, in order for us to do better when it comes to it, we have to start considering moving on wheels. We have to start considering putting something together that's called car. And that's how eventually they introduce a new concept, and that concept actually gained momentum. And today, we all drive cars as far as moving from one end of the city to the next is concerned. Number one. Number two, in 1452 was born a young man by the name of Leonardo da Vinci. I'm taking my time now because it's very important for you to understand that diversity is very important. If you feel like you're different, it is a plus. It's not a minus. If everyone in your community is the same, that's fine. And if you're different, it's okay. It's not it's a plus. So wellness with frugal mama. So if you're here, that's fine. For example, I like how you put yourself together. So that's different. So it's not a minus, it's a plus. So Jessica, I love how you actually do things differently. It's not a minus, it's a plus. Let me tell you why it's a plus. Tamara and Zone, you do things differently. And it's not a minus, it's a plus. Let me just tell you why. Because in 1452, somewhere in Italy, was born a young man that came to be known as Leonardo da Vinci. As he was born, his father was a notary. And his notary simply says, by tradition, we are all notaries in this family. And in order for us to actually make sure that the next in line is going to also become a notary, it must be a child born in a way, out of a sanctioned relationship, out of marriage. If the child is born out of wedlock, number one, it's an iffy situation. Number two, if the person, the mother of the child, is basically someone of what they call, quote and unquote, of a lesser birth, then that means no, that child cannot go on to become a notary like the fathers and the forefathers, so that child is simply going to be X-marked. Da Vinci just happened to be born out of wedlock and out to a mom that was basically of a lesser birth. So right away it was X-marked. The father simply said, I'm going to love you. I'm going to give you all the attention that you need as a son, but I'm not going to let you become a notary like myself. I'm going to give you access to basic education, but we're not going to let you go to university, but there's no way you're going to become a notary like ourselves. So Da Vinci goes on to actually do basic education. I believe it was actually stopped at a grade... he stopped going to formal school, I believe, age 13 or 14. From that point, the young man had to focus on what he wanted to do with his life. So eventually he decided to actually go on to become an artist, and they took him to school to be taught by master the Verrocchio, if I'm not mistaken, and who became then his master, his mentor for a few years, and eventually he started working on his own. But on paper, the family is a family of notaries. He's an artist. But this artist simply says, I am not just going to be an artist like the rest of the artists. I am not just going to be going around just painting birds, painting. I'm not going to be doing that. I'm going to go so deep into painting or drawing pictures of birds that by the time I'm done, you're going to see a new way of actually looking at the birds. What did he do? He went to the market. He bought birds and he took birds home and started basically drawing birds from a close angle. Number one. Number two, he said to himself, that's not even enough. I have to go and find a way to actually dissect this bird to start knowing exactly how the structure of the bones is actually constructing, how the structure of the muscle is actually constructed, so that when I'm actually drawing this painting of the bird, it must be as realistic as possible. Number two. Number three, said to himself, but even if I'm trying now to paint paintings of actually human beings. What do I know about the construction of the bones of of a man? So he said, I don't know much. So what can I do to get access to that? I don't know. So he started now playing around, and he said to himself, how about as I'm going to this place, the mortuaries, to the places that actually looked after the dead body, the corpses, and say if I can gain access to the corpses. People say, you must be crazy. He said, no, I'm not crazy. He asked him the question, so what do you do with these corpses? He said, eventually we dispose of them. He said, okay, how about I start buying the corpses from you? I'll be taking them from you at night and dissecting them at night when everyone is sleeping, because I want to know exactly how the body is actually structured. He started doing that, dissecting each part of the body after each other. And guess what? By the time he was done, he left behind him a body of work that continued to speak to science up until now. Why? Because he decided to simply bring diversity into a network of people that were supposed to be artists. So Da Vinci is someone who simply went above and beyond. He simply said, no, I know that this is what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to be part of this community, and this community does think this one particular way, but I'm going to go out of my way to leave this community. I'm going to be a diversity element in the community, because I want to bring people to a place where they never considered. So I'm going to push the frontiers of what we believe is possible, and in doing so, he started doing things that eventually, oh my goodness, became the foundation of this thing called airplane. Because back in the day, he said to himself, my goodness, I'm looking at the birds. Could it be that one day men will also be able to fly in the air? So he started putting together a prototype drawings to speak to that. And the same drawing, of course, eventually kept. And when the brothers out of America decided, the Wright brothers decided to actually put together the first airplane, they had to go even consult the document that left behind by this man named Da Vinci. Why? Because it was so contrarian in his ability to think outside of the network that this man came to actually take us to the next level. So as far as your branding is concerned, my friend, what I can simply say is that you have to give yourself permission to embrace diversity, because diversity is something really key. Diversity is not a minus, it's a plus. Oh my goodness, before I stop and give you the 5 key elements, the 5 key benefits of actually being a man or woman of diversity, let me just end with this one particular story. I was telling you yesterday. Thank you very much. I was telling you yesterday the story of this young man known as Ayrton Senna, born in March 1960 in Brazil, eventually moved to England in late 1970s, and between 1980 and 1983, he was not going anywhere. Eventually started making it big when it comes to the Formula 3 level, and he started winning the championship, and he said to himself, it's now time for me to go now apply audition for the biggest circuit, which is now Formula 1. It goes on in 1983. He auditioned, and eventually one company, the less of the company by the name of Tolman Hart, said, we're going to take a chance on you. We don't have much because, of course, we are small companies, but we're going to take a chance on you, because all the big companies said that, yes, you did very well. when it comes to the audition. You did better than most of the seasoned Formula One drivers. But as far as your background is concerned, you come from South America, and you may look like us, you may sound like us, you may have even changed your name to actually sound more European, but you are not one of us. And our sponsors are looking for people that look like us when it comes to the psyche. People actually of European descent. People must have been born in Europe. They said, so therefore we're not going to take a chance on you. He goes on to actually now work for Tolman Hart in 1984. 1984, he goes to 2 different races in South Africa and Belgium. He actually places 6th with a basically dinking car. The car was basically inferior car, but the men were driving with such fearlessness that he was basically overtaking one car after another. So that was basically the context. And number 3, they now go to Monaco. So if you go to Monaco, you're going to see that Monaco is a very interesting city, or not city, a principality. Or country. Why? Because the streets of Monaco are very narrow, very, very narrow. So you want to drive there, you have to pay attention to what you're doing. Number 1. Number 2, but when you're driving at high speed, you have to pay great attention to what you are doing. But on one particular day, when the race was taking place, it was a rainy day. So most of the seasoned drivers simply say, no, we can't drive because it's too much. They start dropping one after the other. But this young man, Ayrton Senna, just decided to stay in the race. Not just stay in the race, but decided to actually push the car far, my goodness, with much more intensity than anybody else. Before you know it, it went from actually being 13th place to actually finding himself in the 3rd place, and before him there were only 2 people. Number 1, Alain Prost in the lead, and number 2, Niki Lauda basically driving this in another McLaren. And he went on to now pass Niki Lauda. When he passed Niki Lauda, people say, but this guy is a rookie. How is it possible a rookie is able to overtake a seasoned driver like Niki Lauda? Number 1. Number 2, how is he able to overtake him in such novel way? Because he was now driving, simply saying, I am different. I am the diversity that basically you were saying no to, by the diversity that you need, because I'm going to show you how to drive this car in a brand new and completely novel way. By the time the race was actually stopped, the distance between Alain Prost and Ayrton Senna was, I believe, a matter of just, 7 seconds. It was just basically 7 seconds beyond Alain Prost. So basically, if the race had continued, if the race had not been stopped, he had more than likely overtake Alain Prost and become the champion for that particular race, and basically with a low and inferior car with the company called Tolman Hart. So why am I saying that? To simply illustrate the fact that as far as diversity is concerned, it is a plus, not a minus. All right. Now, let me just get to the 5 key benefits of this thing called diversity. Diversity in your way of thinking, and diversity in you embracing the different experiences that life has to offer, and not to be narrow-minded just to focus on what everybody else is doing. Number 1, diversity will give you what I will call simply called, so I will call it CIACG. Diversity will give us first of all simply called confidence, increased confidence, because you simply feel confident that is in any situation, you know how everyone within the circle of life is actually thinking, so you know that you have an edge when it comes to what you bring into the table, because if everybody's basically doing the same thing as everybody else, that's basically the extent to which they can live life. But you actually being different, you actually know, yes, I know how you think, plus more. So you're going to be always a plus to the table as far as you are concerned for yourself and for the company we're working for. So if you are different, it is a good thing. Confidence. Number 2, it will give you a sense of innovation. So CIA, and CG. I will give you for innovation. It will give a sense of innovation because you know exactly what the limits are as far as life is concerned. You know that, yes, in this community in Germany, everyone just loves to walk around or move around on horseback, on horse carriages, in horse carriages, or people love to simply move around using a bicycle. But I'm going to introduce something completely new. So I'm going to be a man of innovation. Carl Benz and Bertha Benz in 1888. Because they said to themselves, I know, we know this extent to which life is lived in this community. So we're going to go outside and being simply innovators. So being different is also good because it gives you a sense of innovation. And for what? It will give you also a sense of adaptation. Because you know that I'm living on the edge. And life on the edge requires for me to actually also stretch my mind. As I'm stretching my mind, I can now open my mind to all kinds of different scenarios. So I can always land on my feet. So as a cat, So as a cat, because I'm a different kind of cat, if you're gonna drop me in the air, I'm only gonna land on my four feet because I know how to land on my 4 because I've actually trained myself to live on the edge. You're gonna be a different kind of cat as far as the community is concerned. So CIA, CG, so C, for what? Clarity. It will give you a sense of clarity. You're going to simply be able to look at yourself and say, my goodness, I can see now clearly what the community needs because I have a global, oh my goodness. So clarity, so number 1, clarity. You'll be outside looking at things from outside. And as you're looking at things from outside, you're going to have a different perspective as the rest of you because your mind will be completely clear. Number 4, last but not least, it will give you a sense of global view. Global view in what sense? Because you are now looking at everything from overview. Your bird's eye view is completely different because you're now looking at things because you are stuck. You are stuck to the element. You are looking at it because you're now standing like an eagle looking at life from above. And when you do that, my friend, you're going to be simply completely superior and completely different when it comes to the ability to introduce the solution the world so needs. Let me just end with a story. And I hope that my daughter is now listening. Because this story is a story I actually shared with them yesterday. It's a true story in America. True Mamle, thank you very much. Oh my goodness. Oh Jessica, thank you very much. Oh, you're still with me, thank you very much. Keep cooking. I wish I could come to your home to actually get some food, but you're too far from me. You are in Atlanta, I'm in Toronto. One day, maybe one day I'll stop by your house. So again, true story now. 4th of July in America. 4th of July in America, my friends, my family in America tend to go crazy. They tend to just get together, cook and barbecues and all. Next thing you know, all kind of noise take place in the backyard and very, Americans love to be great when it comes to a sense of celebration. But 4th of July, they tend to go overboard, which is fine because they love the country. They are very patriotic and that's very fantastic. But it can be very dangerous for the little friends, the family member they have in a home, which such as cats and dogs, because the noise and the excitement can be too much for dogs. For dogs, we say too many people around the house, too much food around the house, too much noise, and dogs can become extremely unsettled as far as celebration is concerned. And that there's so much library when it comes to how to actually tone it down when it comes to 4th of July celebration in America, because it has been proven that dogs and cats become very unsettled when it comes to the celebration around the 4th of July. But why am I telling you this story? Because on a particular day in America, a family was having some kind of celebration when it comes to 4th of July, and people just going right there, oh yeah, America, make America amazing again, or yeah, whatever they say, great, amazing, beautiful, whatever they say. They're celebrating. The noise was such that the dog in the house decided to run away. As the dog ran away, the family became completely despondent, completely sad. They started looking for the dog. So they went around the neighborhood and said, have you seen our dog? People said, no, we have not seen the dog. So they go home, they put together posters, and they put the poster all over the place and say, yeah, we're looking for our dog, and this is the picture of our dog. If you see the dog, please call us so we can actually come collect our dog. And they do that. And they go all over the place to even extend the radius of the search to 10 miles just to look to see if anybody has seen the dog, and still no sign of the dog. Eventually, they receive a phone call from animal shelter saying, oh my goodness, we saw the ad that you put all over the place, and we believe that the dog that you're looking for is exactly what you're looking for. So please come collect the dog. So I'm gonna be done soon. So dad and mom come, and the dad and the daughter come to collect the dog, and they take the dog home. They start playing with the dog. So they go home, and as they live in a very fancy neighborhood, in this fancy neighborhood, they have access to basically this beautiful kitchen with a beautiful window overlooking the backyard. So dad and the children go in the backyard, they're playing with the dog, and mom is actually making dinner. So as she's making dinner, her brother comes. And the brother comes and says, oh, my sister, how are you, so on and so forth. They start socializing. As they're socializing, the brother-in-law, basically the brother to the wife, is now drinking tea like I'm doing now. At one point, he does exactly this. He takes off his glasses and he eyes are wide open, says, oh my goodness. And the sister asks, so what's happening, my brother? What's happening? He says, but whose dog is it? Whose dog is it? The dog they're playing with, who does it belong to? The wife said, the mother simply said, yeah, but that's our dog. And the brother said, but that's not your dog. That's not your dog. That's not your dog. And they realized right there and then, like, yes, there was a fallacy. There was a bias a conscious bias that had taken place, and particularly because they became too attached to the outcome because they wanted so much to find the dog. They wanted so much to have a sense of normalcy again, a sense of homophilia again, to be life to be the same, that they became narrow-minded. That anything and anyone that looked like the dog was the dog. Because the animal shelter gave them the concept and say, yeah, this is your dog. Because the dog, when the dog saw them, said that dog became excited. They said, oh yeah, they want to adopt me. So the dog started licking them. In their mind, they simply reached, no, this is our dog. But what they didn't realize, the fact is that they were so emotionally attached to the outcome that they become blindsided. They became blinded as to what exactly they were supposed to be paying attention to. And this is what happens when it comes to homophilia. Because when we are so attached to just being living in a place where everything looks the same, feel the same, and actually smell the same, we don't really come to understand that, yes, sometimes we become attached to the wrong people, attached to the wrong outcomes, attached to the wrong solutions. So we take for someone a Leonardo da Vinci to come out of the community, a Jessica, or a Tamara and Zone, or a Truman to come out of the community to simply say, no, my people, my brothers, my sisters, what you're doing is wrong, because I have now gained a better global view of the situation. I can tell you that what you're looking at is the wrong solution. So we have to come out of this place because there's a better solution as far as what we do is concerned. And this can only happen if you commit yourself to now living the life from a place of diversity. Because if you keep doing the same thing as everybody else, you're going to be completely blinded like everybody else, like this family. Because you can simply say to yourself, this is what I want. It looks like what I want, I'm going to take it, and not knowing that there's something much better than what you're actually seeing in front of you. So diversity with this story, I'm just going to end, is absolutely something beautiful that we have to entertain and actually embrace for ourselves. Again, as I was saying, diversity is not the color of your skin. Diversity is not so much the texture of your hair. Diversity is not so much the color of your eyes. Diversity is simply something key. It's how you think. So you have to commit to thinking differently. You have to commit to actually being someone completely different in your mind if you really want to introduce what the community needs, which is simply diversity and a sense of excellence. Because if you say to yourself, I'm going to embrace life the way it is right now, you're going to simply be shooting yourself in the foot, because eventually what you're going to do is you're going to be operating from a place of mediocrity. Because mediocrity is simply saying that the way life it is right now, it is fine. For example, I'm going to be now even more personal. If you go to Africa, you say to Africans, oh my goodness, it's time for us to also have people that are different, people that actually think differently, to become minister or to become head of state as far as Africa is concerned. If the person doesn't look at them and say, oh no, this is colonialism all over again, because they don't want to see anyone that has looked like them to actually gain places of influence or power as far as the country is concerned. But they are the same people when they travel outside the country, when they come, let's say, to the Western world, they want to be given the chance to even reach the top of the country because they say it's their right. But when it comes to how we live in Africa, we want only people that look and sound like us to be basically in a place of power. Which is also wrong, because we're shooting ourselves in the foot. If you only stick to the people that sound like you, my friend, you're simply shooting yourself in the foot, because now you're operating from a place of mediocrity. If you want excellence, you have to embrace the people that don't look like you, that don't sound like you, that don't think like you, because when you do that, you're simply giving yourself a chance to actually think differently. Let me end with this story. In 2017, I traveled to this place called China. And as I traveled to China, the people actually asked me for basically saying, Dimitri, go stay in this particular hotel. To me, it was like a two-star hotel. I was not very pleased. But it gave me insight to something really beautiful. Chinese live life completely differently. Because as we're living in North America, I'm so used in the morning to eating breakfast. Breakfast means like bread, sometimes fruits, sausages, you name it, cereal, and so on and so forth. But in China, breakfast is something very serious. Sometimes in the morning, they eat rice, very heavy. I said, but this is crazy. And I said, duh, Dimitri. Who told us that breakfast must be bread, must be tea, must be coffee, must be fruit, must be cereal? Who told us that? What kind of foolish life is? Life is as wide as we want to be. The choices are just as infinite as we want to be. If they eat rice, why not? So that morning, I said, okay, give me rice. So I ate rice in the morning at 7 o'clock in the morning, and I said, oh my goodness, these Chinese people are completely amazing. And I embraced that life, and guess what? It gave me simply a different perspective when it comes to the possibilities out there. All right? I'm going to stop right now because I think my time is actually far Yeah, I've actually gone over. So again, let me just stop quickly and just say hello to my friends again. So again, thank you very much for all of you for actually being here. If you have a question, please just shoot it in the chat. Otherwise, I'll be taking my leave and I'll be seeing you again tomorrow, hopefully a different time. But I'm glad you enjoy all this example. Coach Marima, yes, it is true. It is true. As a matter of fact, here's the funny thing. Even before the European came to Africa, in the morning, we never used to eat cereals for breakfast. We never used to eat cereal. Nobody will look at you, oh, you're eating cereal for breakfast. So what is that? We used to eat fruit, we used to eat vegetables, we used to eat carbs in the morning because we had to go for work, we had to go to the field, we had to go for long distance. So we need as much as possible in our bodies enough for us to actually be able to endure long hours of walking from one place to another. So you can just go eat cereal and go work for 4 hours. It's impossible. But when we open our minds to what was happening in a different part of the world, more specific in Europe, we started believing that yes, in the morning you're supposed to eat cereal, but that's not the truth. So I'm so glad I went to China because China said to me, no, Dimitri, you have the right to eat rice in the morning. I said, yeah, please go for it. Now, to the point where even when my youngest daughter in the morning, when she said she wanted to eat also something different, I simply said, go for it, because as a matter of fact, life is as infinite as possible. If you decide to just stick to what you know, you are shooting yourself in the foot. You have to find a way to simply look at the community and find yourself yourself in a place where you give us the permission now to become simply a man or a woman of diversity. Not because of the color of your skin, not because of your gender, not because of the color of your eyes, but simply by your ability to think different. When you think differently, you bring in something completely different to the community. You are bringing a plus as opposed to a minus, because as I keep saying, being a man or woman diversity simply enhances and enriches the community more than you can possibly imagine. All right? It seems like you guys enjoy this conversation so much when it comes to diversity. I think I'm going to have to extend it over the next few days and also get back to what Jessica was asking me as far as life in Canada is concerned. All right? Yes. Rice is too heavy for you in the morning. I can see why, because we more than likely you live in North America. Because if you live in a different part of the world, my friend, chances are you'll be eating something completely different. We eat what we eat because we are used to that, and that's how the brain works. The brain simply says to you, yes, in this community in the morning, we have to eat cereal, we have to put milk, and so on and so forth. Even this question of actually, let me just stop right there. Of actually drinking milk. So in some communities, milk is a no-go because not everyone is actually lactose tolerant. So this concept of actually even drinking milk cereal in the morning is not for everyone. So that's just something we have to also understand. There are many different ways of also getting the protein that you need without going through milk. So that's something we also have to take into consideration. And Chinese simply told me that, yes, Dimitri, if you're looking protein, there are many different sources of protein out there. So why do you limit yourself to only drinking milk? And I said, duh, that is true. That is true. And final story. And I'm going to go. Final story. I live in North America. In North America, when you go, for instance, to places like hotels, you go to restaurants, place of service, you're supposed to leave a tip at the end of the day. If you go to the hotel, you go to the guy at the front and you ask them the question. And if they are very good, you're supposed to give them a tip. But here's a funny story. I go to China. In the morning at 6 o'clock in the morning, I needed something. And I said to myself, oh my gosh, I need to call someone to actually ask for this. Of course, I picked up the phone, I called. Neo, ma. So I briefly spoke Cantonese with them, the little I knew. And I said, I need something to be brought to my room. 2 minutes later, the lady brings me something in the room. So as she comes, she gave it to me. I was ready. So I'm a North American person. I'm a Westerner. So I was ready. I said, okay, as she's coming, she's bringing me that something. I'm trying to give her money. My goodness, you should have seen the look on her face. She said, no! She screamed. She said, no! I said, what is it? But this is money. I said, but this is money. I'm giving you money because you give. She said, no! Because there were cameras all over the place. And I said, what's happened? So she walked away completely disgusted, and she walked away. I said, okay, but what's going on? I want her to be nice. Later in the day, when my friends came to pick me up, we started talking. I said, this is what happened to me. She said, yes, Dimitri, in this country, service providers are supposed to do what they do without expecting any type of tips. If she takes the tip from you, she basically saying no to the culture that we belong to. In this culture, you are simply nice without expecting anything in return. I said, wow! Wow, wow, wow! In North America, a cab driver takes you from point A to point B, you're supposed to give them a tip. You pay, but you're supposed to give them a tip. Uber drive brings you food at home, you're supposed to give them the tip. Whatever Uber on the wheels, they come food at, you're supposed to give them tip. You go to the restaurant, they bring food, you're supposed to give them a tip. But in China, they say they give you service because that's what they call to do. And you pay them money for the service, and they don't want to take anything above and beyond what you're giving them. And when you try to give them money, you're simply insulting their ability to serve you without actually being, without this demeaning expectation that you're going to give them something else on top of that. I say, wow. It pays to travel. It pays to actually be different. It pays to actually be exposed to different way of actually seeing the world. Because as you do that, it comes to simply bring it to a place of sobriety. To simply say, if I want to do differently, I have to also open up my mind and look at things across the board to see how things are done across the board. And once I start doing that, I become now a plus or an asset as opposed to a liability for my community. All right? Yes. Yeah. Tamara said you have to, some place you have to tip them in a subtle way. I tried that. They said no. Subtle or no subtle, in this country, we don't tip. We don't tip. Yeah, we are different in North America. We are different. We are so different. Let me just read the comment quickly here. Okay, Jessica says, we have a restaurant here that tell you the amount of tip. Exactly. In North America, as you're tipping them, they even tell you a percentage. You're going to give us 10%, 15%, 20, 25, or plus. So they even tell you, the condition you to give them a tip. If you don't, then you're seen as a bad customer. Yes, Nana food, it is true, but this is North America because and if you don't, they simply put an X mark on you, they blacklist you. As my wife will be very upset. Okay, let's just say they put you in the bad books. Because if I say blacklisted, that's not good. Let's just say they put you in the bad books. They simply say, Dimitri, bad customer. Whenever he comes, he takes the food, he never gives a tip. Even the Uber driver simply say, no, this guy, bad guy. Whenever he order food, we bring the food, he barely gives us anything, so bad person. So, yeah, this is North America. Yes, and this is the funny thing. In North America, waitresses or waiters, they only pay a certain basic amount of money. So in order for them to make a living, they depend on tips. This is North America. But here's the funny thing. Maybe that needs to change. Maybe we need to go back to a place where we start paying them minimum wages, so they don't need to depend so much on the tips in order for them to actually make a living. Because otherwise, we are just, yes, there are different ways of actually doing things differently. Because in China, people, I go to this fast food in China. This called McDonald's. Same food. Exact same food as North America. Exact same food. The taste is a bit different because the chicken tastes a bit different. So I say, I don't know which one tastes better. The chicken in North America or the chicken in China. But same menu and the price is pretty much the same. So it is possible to actually deliver the same service, the same product without actually having to shortchange your staff, to actually give them minimum wages so they don't have to depend on tips in order for them to deliver good service. Yes, in North America, they are paid minimum wages, but it's still not enough. I can hear you. Yes, and the tips are also shared with the chef. I can hear you. Yes. My husband used to live off tips, not Tamara speaking. Yes, I can hear you. As a matter of fact, I'm not saying no to tips. I'm not saying no to it. I'm simply saying that there's also a way to actually live life without depending so much on tips, because Chinese do that, so we can also implement the same thing. Yes, Jessica is saying we need 2 jobs to pay bills in North America. That is true. Oh my goodness, thank you so very much. Thank you so very much. Oh yes. Life in North America. Oh my goodness. God help us. Oh my goodness. So I've been speaking here, let me say, for how long? Oh my goodness. Where's the time here? For 1 hour and 27 minutes. So close to an hour and 30 minutes. So yeah, that's fine. I can say one thing before I go. Jessica, J-Dub Vlogs, absolutely thank you very much. So everyone, if you have the chance, please go say hello to Jessica. Her channel is called J-Dub Vlogs. Go look her up quickly. Go to her channel. Just go say hello. She's a very nice person. Extremely, extremely friendly. Just helped me a lot when it comes to my YouTube channel. So someone that you definitely need to discover. Gamer Bro as well. Someone amazing in America as well. Wellness with Frugal Mama. Absolutely amazing. Great community that you have to discover. And Nana Food is also out of America. More specific, out of DC. Thank you very much for being here. So I appreciate you. Who else was here? Oh my goodness. My goodness. My goodness. My goodness. My goodness. Legacy Moment, you are awesome. She was here too. Oh my goodness. Legacy Moment, you made my day. Everyone also, please go to Legacy Moment channel. Just see what she's doing so you can also say to her. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I feel so special now. I also have my family here all the way from France. Julie Buddy, thank you very much. Oh, I didn't see you. Thank you so very much. I'm glad I stopped to just to look at everyone in the comment. Everyone say hello to also Julie Buddy. She does never channel. She's a very amazing person. She speaks French and English. An amazing person. Gender Vlogs, thank you very much for being here. Nana Foodies, thank you very much. I love you too. Thank you very much for being here. So I appreciate you. Yes. Okay, Nana Foodies. True Mamle, thank you very much. Out of United Kingdom. So everyone could go say hello as well to True Mamle. She's in the United Kingdom. She travels a lot. She's all over the place. Sometimes she's in America, in Europe. She's in all of the, but she's an amazing person. Great content, amazing, absolutely diverse. Nana Foodies, thank you for being here. There's someone else I want to say. Coach Mary Ma, thank you so very much for being here. Everyone also say hello to Coach Mary Ma. Go say hello to her. Go embrace her channel and go see what she's doing on a daily basis. Absolutely great content. And last but not least, Tamara and Zoni, and I hope I'm saying it right. Tamara and Zone or Zoni. I hope I'm saying it right. Thank you very much for being here. Great people when it comes to content creation on YouTube here. I think I have acknowledged everyone. So Nana Foodies, Coach Mary Man, True Mamle, Tamara and Zoni, J Dub Vlogs, Legacy Moment, and last but not least also Julie Buddy out of France. So thank you very much for being here. So I appreciate your company. So I appreciate your support. So looking forward to share more with you in this day to come. Until then, take good care. And as I keep saying, you are perfection made flesh. But now for perfection to be manifested, you have to be intentional. As I keep telling people, we are spiritual beings having a physical moment, not a physical being having a spiritual moment. What does this mean is that because you are spiritual beings, everything that you are in the spirit realm is basically after the DNA of your spiritual, the spiritual entity that gave birth to you. So if the spirit entity is actually perfect, you are also perfect. But now for that perfection to be manifested, you have to be intentional when it comes to your ability to now live outside of the box. To be intentional and go out of your way to now live outside of the box. To simply say that your diversity is what my community needs. They may fight me now because I am so different, but in the long run, I'm going to be the asset they were so looking for. Because they may say to themselves, now we just need to actually walk around and just use bicycle. But if the community needs down the road to have access to cars, and you have access to cars, an idea of car, go for it, because you're going to be an asset as opposed to a liability for your community. All right? So it pays to be different. It pays to be a woman or a man of diversity. And as a personal brand, when you embrace diversity, you're actually giving a life to a community as opposed to creating death in a community. When you actually embrace diversity as a personal brand, you're simply enhancing and enriching the life experience of people around you as opposed to taking away things from them. All right? Love you so much. The best is yet to come. Before you go, 4 key things. Please make sure you hit the like button, to share this video, to comment, and last but not least, to subscribe if you have not already done so. Okay? Love you so much. I'm out.